Welcome to day 284 of the 300 movie challenge. Today we would have watched the highest grossing film of January 2018, which was Maze Runner: The Death Cure, but since we didn't watch it before, we just now watched Maze Runner: The Scorch Trails.
Yeah, so there's actually kind of a weird sort of backstory to us watching this film now, but I'll talk about that later because it's not as important as actually the film itself, I guess.
Mm.
Um, Not really sure where to start for this.
I will be honest, I completely forgot about how the last film ends, so I was very confused for the first few moments of this film until I remembered some certain parts and I was like, "Oh yeah, right, this is where we are in the story right now."
Yeah, that's it. Okay, here's how I would kind of summarize this.
Okay.
In terms of like individual scenes, there's a lot of good stuff in here.
Mm.
But I feel like there isn't really a sense of a plot. Well, like it's not that there's no plot, but it's like the plot just kind of happens.
Yeah.
I agree. It's kind of like, let's escape from this place. Let's get to point A to point B, and then from B to C. But it doesn't really have like an overarching
Yeah,
plot.
they don't stay like at any one place for longer than like 20 minutes.
Mm.
And because of that, like some of the scenes were like, oh, this scene is actually like it's pretty good, but it would be better if like you actually like because you feel like you don't really get to know like any of the new characters or any of the new places or any of the new groups. You kind of just So it's like, for example, when the guy dies early on from the bite, right, or the attack or whatever, like that was like shot as a good scene and works pretty well. But I'm just like, I have no idea who this guy is.
Yeah.
Right.
Was he from the first one or
Apparently, but I guess he wasn't focused on it all, really. So yeah, so there's that, and then like for example, well near the end when like the right arm or whatever, when they get attacked, it's like we just got here, like we don't know any of these people to like care about. So like that's kind of that's one of my two main issues. So there's that. Is that again? There's a good amount of good stuff, and again, it's not the plot's not like bad. It's just,
Not really there.
yeah,
I think if we watch like the third one and then if that ends up having like a cohesive plot, I would feel like they could have summarized this movie into like a couple of scenes, like mostly like the first instance with like the zombies and then meeting the right arm. Then they could have dropped the rest of this movie. I feel like there was a lot of pressure at this point in time for people to write trilogies, and that's why like one of the books always seems very unnecessary.
Mm.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
as of right now, this movie seems very unnecessary. I don't know how it will stack up to the third one, but
yeah,
if they actually make it work, then it could have been two.
yeah. Because I'm thinking like, okay, in terms of the actual like plot, what is important in terms of differences from the end of the first one to the beginning of to the end of this one, right? And it's that they thought they were being taken in by these good guys. Turns out, oh, they're not good guys. They're still working for Wicked. So they escaped, and then they got to the right arm, but then the right arm gets attacked, and now they're like, what now? And like that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Like a few people
basically-
die, but they're not really that important, and like again, there's those two new characters who are now a part of it, but they could have just been part of the right hand to begin with if you really wanted to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
that would have been easier.
yeah,
I agree that it's kind of it's for books and for movies that it's like you gotta have a trilogy or you gotta have like more books or not really movies, because I think to my knowledge, the only movies that like surpassed the trilogy that we at least watched during the challenge was the Harry Potter movies, because Star Wars has like sets of trilogies, and I guess Lord of the Rings also had sets of trilogies.
Well, the Fast and Furious movies are on 8, so
True. That is a good point.
and I guess if you count all of the Jurassic Park / World things as one thing,
Oof.
kind of.
Let's not.
Yeah, let's not.
Not.
But let's see.
I'm willing to give more of a pass to Fast and Furious.
Yeah, because it's not exactly you don't watch it for the story.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're kind of alluding to my second problem. My second problem is it's not just that like that the movie's kind of unnecessary, because honestly, like, if the scenes were really cool and there was stuff with a lot of the characters that, sure, even if the plot doesn't necessarily move along that much, it could be still enjoyable, right? And so, I'd say that does happen a decent amount. But my issue is more so that, like, what was really, like, resolved especially from the first movie?
Yeah, nothing.
Like, there's no mystery that was figured out at all. I guess just like that, we know what the virus thing does, apparently, but like...
I guess...
I think there was that, and that the lady that committed suicide didn't actually commit suicide.
Well, we already knew that from the end of the first one, though.
True.
Yeah, this is like a crutch to build up more of the world, I guess, for the third act, but it's... I hate it when stories do this. It's like, okay, I start off with like a one-shot. Okay, cool. And then it's like, oh yeah, you can make it a series now. It's like, oh well, shit, I didn't set this stuff up.
Well, I don't know if it's that, because again, like, the first movie did set up questions that we didn't know the answers to, and it was clear that we were going to get those. It's just then we didn't get anything. Again, we got the virus thing, we got, I guess, the whole thing about the cure, like, at the very end, but that was, like, really brief, and it didn't even really explain it. It just kind of mentioned the fact that they need to get it from the kids or whatever.
Yeah, but, like, what I'm kind of getting at is, like, this seems like it's just dragging out the stuff that they, like, they didn't have time to expand on, because, like, a lot of the stuff in the previous movie was introduced, like, the last 10 minutes or something.
True, yeah.
So I guess they were. This can work, but that if you have like a purpose to introduce like the new characters, like the right arm or the random two people who had like the fortress, and then not have them be part of the right arm for no reason, then it's just like you dragging out your story so you can get a little bit more money with a third book.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just, like, inserting a couple of chapters, being like, okay, they did this, and then they did this, and then now let's get to, like, what will happen. Actually, events that will occur.
Let me see. No? I was looking at, like, the actual books themselves, like, maybe it was how it, in terms of them coming out, maybe, like, the timeline could hint at something, but no, they just... The first book was in 2009, second one was 2010, and the third one was 2011, so...
Everything was done.
Yeah, it seems like they planned out, from the start, there was like a well, okay, actually, apparently there's 2 prequels.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there was a prequel in 2012, and then another prequel in 2016, but I don't know, like... I don't know if the second prequel is a prequel to the prequel, or if it's just, like,
Prequel to the prequel.
I don't know if it's like that or if they're doing the Star Wars treatment where it's like, here's now a new prequel set that's in order. I don't know. So...
Oh, I didn't know there were prequels.
Yeah. So... Yeah, again, I think it is partly to do with, like, the coveted trilogy or whatever, and so they kind of felt like they had to put stuff in it. Because, yeah, I feel like... Again, and it sucks because there are some pretty good scenes here.
Yeah.
I just am kind of disconnected with. Again, there was the... that guy dying near the beginning. A decent amount of the action's pretty good. I like the whole like ruined like city like apocalyptic like design of and the set pieces actually worked pretty well too. It's kind of like a mix between Book of Eli and kind of like I forgot where it was. The one place in Hunger Games that was like the destroyed city they were at like at one time. It was in Mockingjay or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I know.
Yes.
That was where they were like trying to film Katniss.
I think. So it's like kind of a mix of that, but again, like, not with Katniss involved. So
that automatically makes this better.
Yeah,
automatically.
Because to be fair, one of the things that Hunger Games did do is the visual design of like the locations is pretty good, but like if that's kind of one of the only things the whole series did well, then that's not that great. But yeah, so that works here, and again, there's a decent amount of scenes. There's a good amount of like tension at certain moments and stuff like that. It's just it just as like a cohesive narrative, it just doesn't really do very much.
Yeah.
So
I've heard generally people didn't like love this movie.
I have no
I
idea.
think I might be wrong, but I've heard that the second movie wasn't received super well, and I mean, this is the one that didn't win its month, right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
did not. So
That's
let's
why
see.
we're watching it now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, okay, this was released September 2015. What did we watch September 2015? God. What did we see?
2015?
September 2015. October was The Martian, so whatever was right before that.
Hotel Transylvania 2.
Oh, that's awkward. Okay. Let's see.
That's severe mood whiplash right there.
I know, right?
Yeah, okay. Where's like a thing in terms of your critical response? Oh, okay. So the first one, Rotten Tomatoes, that got a 65, which feels maybe a little bit low, but not like a lot. Okay, both of the second and the third one both got about 45.
Oof.
So.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Again, like I remember we said after the first one that like we like the first one, but we have like a feeling that like the sequels are not gonna.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, they're not gonna hold up.
So I could again like. Is it possible that the third one could kind of bring the story in and wrap things up and actually answer the questions in a way that's, like, decent? It could, but especially after watching this one, I'm just like, not, like... Again, I don't think it's going to be a terrible movie, but I feel like I'm just kind of feel like I did with this one. I'm like, there's going to be some good scenes, but at the end of the day, so what?
Yeah.
So, again, overall, I'd say this is positive, but, like, definitely not as positive as the first one, and... Because, yeah, I'm starting to think, like, so many things that I'm trying to think, like, wait, all the things that the first one did that are so, like, completely removed from this one. Like, again, what the hell was the point of the maze at all?
Yeah.
Right? What the hell were the monster thingies in the maze? Right? Yeah. Remember those things? That, like, wasn't the thing in this at all. You know, there's a bunch of stuff that seems just completely dropped to come into this, and so it's like, I don't know. Like,
and then now, apparently, you're aware of the fact that all of these... that there were multiple mazes that were made too.
Yeah, like what's up with that? Like, where were they?
Yeah, again, it's just, and again, what's the whole point? I assume, of course, that seems like a big enough question that the third movie is going to address it in some way, but at the same time, I feel like I have like too many questions for the third movie to answer without the third movie feeling like, here's all this information, you know?
Or it's like a documentary.
Right, yeah, so I feel like they could have at least revealed something more in this, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the limitation of the adaptation from the book. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I'm not, like, super thrilled with where this is going. So at the end of this, I might just be like, okay, they got out of the maze, but we have no idea what's out there. They're just free, and that's it. We don't have to know about this weird post-apocalyptic / dystopia. I don't know. Is it post-apocalyptic?
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess so.
I mean, there seems like they're trying to rebuild. It's this thing, they're trying, like, oh, we need this cure, and I'm like, yeah, but, like, everything's fucked already, so, like, whoop-de-doo.
Might as well just accept your fate.
Might as well just work with what you have and go from there.
Like, honestly, they were safest inside the maze.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a point of them escaping the maze, per se.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like that, this is not real, let's get out feeling, and then when you get out, you're like, shit, maybe I should have stayed in my little bubble.
Yeah, well, it's the whole The Matrix pill thing, right?
Yeah.
And, there's something that there is something that when I saw, I was like, oh, they could do something interesting with this, but I have a feeling they won't. But I'll mention it anyway. It's how they say for, what was her name? Brenda? I think.
Yeah.
How
Brenda,
that, like, because she got attacked, and so she's, like, got infected, and so she needs the cure thingy, but it's not, like, a permanent thing, right? She needs it, you know, every few months, right? And the whole point is that you can only get it from, like, somebody else, right? So it's kind of like you are actually having to, in a sense, I mean, this is over-exaggerating, but it's like you're giving up part of, like, your own life to help her, and you have to do it, like, repeatedly.
Oh, I see.
So it's kind of like life support that you have to actually take out of yourself to give them. And it's like, that's actually kind of an interesting psychological element of like, caring for somebody. So I'm like, that could be interesting in terms of, that person maybe feeling like they're too much of a burden and like not wanting to do it or whatever. And so it's like, but I have a feeling they're kind of just going to be like, oh, this sucks, but like, oh, we found a permanent cure, so you're fine now, right? So,
I mean, the third movie is called The Death Cure,
Yeah.
so
Plot twist: it's the death cure in the sense that like it cures you by just killing you. Everyone dies now. No one is sick.
That's it. I think I mentioned this when we were watching the movie, but I've noticed that this is kind of a common trend where it's like a lot of these titles apply for the first book, but then for all the other, like...
Oh, like The Maze Runner, it's only the first one, there is the maze, and there's running. But here there's only running.
Well, so, again, the books were just called... The first one, The Maze Runner, the second one, The Scorch Trials, and the third one, The Death Cure.
Right.
Which makes sense,
So, I assume, again, they just did it to have, like, an overall title for the
So
movies.
people, like, understand that it's part of that series.
So, but, like, I think a better... Because we talked about this for Fantastic Beasts, right?
Yeah.
Because we're like, the second one, I read the plot summary, like, this is, like, literally nothing to do with beasts at all. So, yeah, that's... Yeah. Yeah, well... I'd say overall positive, but leaning towards, That's kind of how I see it, so...
Yeah, I mean, I like it better than Hunger Games, which...
Well, yeah.
I think we can all be in agreement.
Yeah, I just hope the third one doesn't completely fuck everything up.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't, like, undo all of the goodwill that we had towards the first one, then it's fine. I'll just forget that it exists.
As long as the answers to the questions aren't, like, complete bullshit or basically are, like, complete, total, like, cop-out plot holes, then even if it's kind of, like, disappointing, I'll be like, alright, fine, right?
Or at least if they answer, like, some of the big questions. Like,
yeah, okay, if they just don't answer anything, that's gonna suck, too.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, some people are like, oh, well, you leave it up to the mystery, and it's like, well, but if literally the whole book and the movie is literally like, oh, here's this thing, you don't know about it, you're gonna know about it, if that's the tone of, like, the whole thing, and then they don't answer it, then it's like, fucking, come on. So... Yeah, we'll see. Oh, so I guess I should talk about the weirdness of this movie in terms of us watching it now. So, again, if I mentioned this before, but if you notice in the background, there's all like of these videos, there's the posters for all the movies, and in that bottom row, there have been a bunch of question marks that have been slowly being filled in as we post things, because that's, we're filling in the ones as the times came, basically, for us to, watch them. So, like, for example, we filled in the one for November 2017 once we knew what film won November 2017, because we hadn't started watching films. We started watching those earlier. Now, for a while, there are several films where there is a question mark kind of in the middle. So there's one kind of separated, and it's not just at the end. That question mark was this one. And the reason that it was there is because we saw, wait a minute, the third movie won the month. But I'm like, well, shit, but we didn't see the second one, so what are we going to do? So we were like, are we just going to watch the third one anyway and say fuck the second one? Are we going to, like, which, to be honest, maybe that wouldn't have actually mattered. But we didn't know that. So, and we're like, well, shit, so what are we going to do? And I'm like, I guess we could just watch it on our own time, but, like, that's lame. And so I was looking ahead, and I was like, there's several months where you can predict what film is going to be the highest grossing film of the month, right? For example, the next one we're going to do, February 2018. If you know what released in February 2018, you know what we're going to be seeing. So there's some examples like that. But there were a couple months, like kind of middle, like about 2/3 of the way through the year. I think it was, I won't say which ones, but anyways, around there, where I was looking at the list of movies and I was like, none of these stand out at all in terms of what's going to win. And a lot of times, those kind of films, especially given the time of year that it is, a decent amount of times the kind of films that win those months are horror films. And so I was like, maybe one of those months will be won by an R-rated horror film that we don't have to watch. That's what happened.
Hallelujah!
So, I'm not going to say which one, but yes, so we are replacing a movie that actually we didn't mention, because in the intro video for all this we mentioned 12 films that we're replacing or whatever. So this is actually a 13th one, but we didn't know about this one before we started posting. So, oh well. But yeah, so that there is a movie later this year that we are not watching, and then in its place we will be watching the third Maze Runner. So therefore we got to slot in this one here. So yeah, it's kind of a weird. I'm glad it. I mean, I guess at least worked to fix things, but you know, even if this movie's not like super great, but
yeah.
So
I take it over whatever. I don't even know. I don't even remember.
I mean, considering everything we've seen, this is easily top half.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, not like top quarter, but top half, sure. So yeah. But yeah, next movie is, again, if you know what released in February 2018, you know what it is. So
I am so stoked.
I actually saw this. So I saw this in theaters. I want to see it again though, because I had an opinion about it, and now I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel seeing it again. So, but it wasn't like bad. Okay, so don't worry about that.
I guess on that cliffhanger, not really much of a cliffhanger, but we will see you next time.
Yes.
Bye.
Why?